is supposed to be filed in Town Hall?
Oh, yeah, we have it upstairs. Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. Well, can we get copies of it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then I misheard you. Sorry, Rick.
Okay.
Okay, calling the Town of Tremont Board of Appeals meeting to order. It's just 5 o'clock. Going to ask for a roll call. I'll start. Joanne Harris, Bass Harbor.
David Tampbell.
Richard Cohen,
Just say your town. That you live- Bass Harbor.
Seal Cove.
Seal Cove.
Mel Atherton, Bass Abbott.
Mike Hayes, Bass Harbor.
Okay, thank you. I have determined that we do have a quorum, so we can proceed. So it was suggested we might want to adjust our agenda to include election of officers of the Board of Appeals for 2022. We can do that tonight, or we can do that next week. Does anybody have a strong preference?
It's done today.
Get it done now? All right. I'll entertain nominations for chair. And gentlemen, I have been chair forever, as you know, and would not be at all unhappy to step aside.
But would you be equally willing to stay?
I get asked this every year. Yes, if no one else would like to assume this.
I nominate Joanne Harris as chair of the Board of Appeals.
I'll second that.
I have a second. Any other nominations? Hearing none. All those in favor of Joanne Harris continuing as chair of Board of Appeals, please say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. So, alrighty then. Any other adjustments to our agenda tonight?
Do we nominate a vice chair?
Yes.
Oh, yes, of course.
I would like to nominate Mel Atherton as vice chair of the Appeals Board.
I second that.
Okay, I have a nomination and a second. Any other nominees? Hearing none. Nominations are closed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Congratulations, Mel. We're quite a team. I must say.
I vote present.
Okay.
Any other changes to the agenda or adjustments? Hearing none, we'll move on to number 5 on the agenda. You have all been provided this remote participation policy. We had to meet in person in order to agree to meet by Zoom. I have read through it. I hope all of you have. Any questions or concerns about the policy? Any discussion about the policy?
I move to accept.
I have a motion.
You just need to make a motion to open a public hearing.
Oh.
I am opening the public hearing for this meeting.
Don't hold back, folks.
We definitely like public hearings of this nature. It is past 5, so anybody who might have had something to say had time to get here. I'm hearing nothing from the public. Consequently,
I move to accept the remote participation policy for the Tremont Board of Appeals as presented.
I'll second.
it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Excellent. Our next meeting is a week from tonight. We will take up the, which one is it, Jesse? It's one of the campgrounds.
It's the Acadia Wilderness,
Appeal?
yeah, on the small site on Kelly Hill Road.
Okay.
Okay. the
Do
small
we,
side of
do we,
Hilltown.
I don't think I've seen the appeal yet.
It's the
I've got-
It's the one that you received back in November, and
Oh,
you asked
oh,
if
oh.
you could get a copy of it.
Gotcha, sorry.
Yep.
Long time ago.
Yep.
Yeah, and I anticipate that we will have some public attending through Zoom on that one.
Mhm.
So that's our next meeting, and that will be the agenda item. After that, I'm suggesting that we meet January 27th on Zoom at 5 o'clock to take up the other campground appeal, which you should have gotten a copy of. And then February 3rd, the Thursday after that, for this one that you were just handed tonight. Now, we haven't verified with James that he's available on the 27th
Correct.
or February 3rd. There was also something, one of the attorneys said that she had a conflict with, was it the 4th Thursday?
No, it was the second.
Just the 2nd. So January 27th should be fine.
Should be.
And February 3rd, well, she's not involved in that. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, and just while we're on this, guys, any questions on any of those dates? We're all good?
I don't have any questions on the dates.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'm under the impression that we're gonna get a pile of papers regarding the what will now be the 27th.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any idea when that's gonna show up?
They have until, the ordinance allows them until 7 days prior
Wow.
to
Okay.
submit their supporting documents for the appeal, and then the opposing, which would be the campground itself, has up until 3 days to do it.
Joanne.
Oh, that's big.
I don't think we can firmly set a date and thereby set a 7-day gap for people to submit their papers until we know when we're going to get the transcripts. We cannot decide this case without examining the transcripts. And Christmas season is coming. Transcripts don't get manufactured that fast, and I'm not even sure that the 27th can hold.
Well, we do have a 60-day deadline, don't we, Jesse, from the time we receive the appeal to take it up. And if we don't have all the documents, how does that 60-day get pushed out?
I'd have to check the ordinance. Usually, deadlines and ordinances can be extended if all parties agree to the extension.
All right.
Otherwise, you'd be forced to deny for lack of.
You know, given the nature of these appeals and what this town has already been through, I think we all want to do due diligence, right? And so I'm very sensitive to what Rick said. If we're going to have a volume, and there's been a court reporter apparently who's been transcribing word for word everything that we're going to be presented with, and that's going to be massive, right? So maybe it does just make sense to not set a date until we have a chance to have that transcript and know what is the volume is.
I would support that. Are the lead times that you indicated 3 days and the 1 week? Is that state law? Is it town ordinance?
It's in the Board of Appeals ordinance.
Okay. I would suggest that we might want to revisit that portion of the ordinance at some time in the future, because I'm scared to death to get something and you're supposed to read it, understand it in 3 days.
Right.
I just think that's
We
a little
could always
difficult.
recess and reschedule to look at the digested material and postpone the meeting. That's always an option, right?
That the board itself can say it's just too much and we can push it out.
We need a week or whatever time we need to digest all the material.
Okay.
So why don't we hold these dates as tentative, because we just don't know what's coming, knowing that we can push the dates out if necessary. But I think you're right, Mike. I think we need to revisit that in our own ordinance.
Yeah, I mean, if it was the back step, that's one thing.
Right.
But you know, I just have this impression of reams of paper showing up.
And I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think it will.
Yeah.
So let's hold the dates.
Yeah, I think the February 3rd date could probably be fixed, where that's not going to be reams of paper.
Nope.
But the January 27th one we're just holding it in case.
Well, I was going to say, now, they know it's January 27th, so they're going to be, they don't, until we set it.
Right.
I would suggest we go ahead and set it,
Okay.
as the 27th to keep the pressure on, and if we have to come on the 27th, and the only piece of business is we move the hearing to a later date because we don't have the materials or they were late, whatever reason, at least that puts a stake in the ground for the various parties to try to get the material that we need in here. Is that reasonable?
That
Yeah.
seems like,
I think both sides also are gonna be motivated
Yes,
to give us the time to do it right.
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
right,
You would
They
And
hope
I-
want
so.
you to read it. Both sides want you to read everything.
right, right,
They want
of
you to
course.
be short on time.
Not that we want to read everything, but we want to do the right thing, and
Right.
the way you do that is by taking your time and doing the due diligence that's required, so. Okay, all right, any other, I have one other piece of business. I want to make sure that my board members have all of the ordinances that they should have.
Yes, yep.
So there should be, you should have a Board of Appeals ordinance. The last date on this is May 11th, 2004. You should have the site plan review ordinance. Not sure what the date on that was, Jesse, but
It should be,
yeah, 2019,
yes.
okay? So you should have site plan review ordinance. You should have the Tremont land ordinance, which is rather thick. And that's 2020? July?
2020, yep.
2020,
Yep.
okay. And the Tremont zoning ordinance, last date on that, May 8th, 2018.
Now, what, doesn't
No.
the land use
No,
ordinance
No.
supersede that?
Yep, that one's no longer.
This is no longer.
It was replaced by the land use ordinance.
Okay, so land use and takes the place of this.
Yes,
I can throw this away.
yeah.
Okay.
I had one question. The changes that were made, and again, my mind is fuzzy about dates, but early in the spring about trying to reconcile the site plan,
Yeah.
are those reflected in any way? Are there things that we should know that may have changed?
No, because this, these were, the big campground was submitted in January of
Okay, before that was
2021,
done.
before those changes. So they were reviewed with the 2020.
Okay.
For new, such as the variance, anything going forward, you'll want the 2021 copy.
Okay. All right. Have we gotten that yet? I don't remember.
Probably not, because you haven't had a meeting.
Right.
so-
I was going to say, I just go ahead and request that hard copies be provided to all members of the board.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the site plan was updated in November,
Okay.
so I'll give you that
Yeah.
one as well.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Does anybody prefer also to get an email?
Oh,
Okay,
you,
what?
To get email.
The ordinance as well.
I'd rather have the hard copy from the town. Just let us know when it's ready.
Okay.
So this hasn't been our own ordinance hasn't been looked at for 17 years.
Correct.
Is it up to the board? I've been on it at least 17 years. Is it up to us to do this? Or?
Usually, it says that you propose amendments.
Oh, we propose amendments to the selectmen?
Yep.
Okay.
I'd be willing to at least have a preliminary discussion on that, maybe even next week. Just kick some ideas around about how it might be changed a little bit.
Yeah, it's not that long an ordinance.
Right.
If everybody could maybe take a look, and if there are things that you think you'd like to see changed. So I don't think next week is going to be a super long meeting. I could be wrong, you never know. But that might be something we could take up.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't say, but typically
That's
you
the
would,
deal.
yeah, you
Okay.
would propose amendments and then.
And then that would go to the voters
Yeah.
ultimately, right?
Okay. So Jesse, if you would put on the agenda for next week after we take up the appeal, that will a discussion, preliminary discussion about changes in the BOA ordinance.
Mhm.
That'd be great. Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. It's more than time. Any other business? I want to welcome newcomers to the board. Very good to have you here. We have our work cut out for us, as they say. So, any other business from any board member? Hearing none, after you sign this form, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Anybody opposed? All right. Don't leave yet, you're gonna have to sign. Thank you guys very, very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Once more into the breach, dear friends.
Right.
Ah.
Did you see this one? Did you read this?
Yeah, well, glanced at it, I did.